How you going? Sorry. Nice, mate. Right. Went up to Geelong Harley yesterday and gave Colin and Webby and the family up there my gift. As you all know, if you look back on the video that I made yesterday. Take those off. Right. Now, Colin, he's a funny bloke, you know, works hard, him and his wife, and all of his staff. Really down to earth, you know, it's a family run business, Geelong Harley, right? And the only way to say this, and you know, and Colin was flat. He was upset. This thing that's happened with Harley and Danny about using, you know, inappropriate, words or sayings or references to, you know, to people who may be offended, which we're not out there, they're not out there picking on them, right? It's gone too far. I'm making this video not for me, but to be a voice for Colin, right? Danny, he's his own person. No one can stop Danny, and nor should they stop Danny from doing what he's doing. He does a fantastic job. As I've said in one of my videos, and it's true, Danny and Colin saved my life. But to see Colin, upset with what correspondence he's getting from Harley. I mean, he didn't go into words, and I can understand why. Colin's got to be very careful because it's his business, and you know, he's got to protect that. But you can see that there's a lot of pressure. So I'm making this video, in my opinion, on behalf for Colin and his wife and the family there, for everyone who watches this video. There's got to be something that, you know, we all know someone out there who has a bit of pull, who can pull here, you know, pull some strings, whatever, to make things better, right? And I don't like seeing Colin like he was. He wasn't happy. You could just feel the mood. It wasn't happy in the whole place, you know. If you know anybody, or if, you know, some superstar, rapper, you know, racing bike, some celebrity, anybody, you know, can go and knock on the front door of Harley and say, what are you doing? You know, really, what are you doing? You know, you're picking on a family-run business that the owner, it's not a manager, the owner of this business, Colin, and his wife, they work it. Colin's out the back. He's spinning spanners. He's bashing his knuckles, working on other people's bike. And, you know, maybe I shouldn't be, but it's how I feel. You know, you go to Peter Stevens, Harley Heaven, right? And the manager of the store is not in the workshop. You know, he's not bashing his knuckles. You know, I bought my bike from, you know, Harley Heaven, and in all honesty, the customer service that I got, I had a lot of issues with my Harley, and Colin and Webby and the family at Geelong Harley, they fixed them. You know, they went, you know, above and beyond. Yeah, and another thing I would say, Colin is not about the top dollar. He's about the bottom dollar, right? Meaning he's not out to get every cent out of your pocket, right? Like some, motorcycle dealerships out there, Colin will work with you, right? At the end of the day, it's a business. Colin needs to make money. You want your bike fixed, you're going to have to pay, right? But there's a level, to paying and then getting bent over, ripped off. And Colin's not, no one there at Geelong Harley are about ripping off anyone. What they did for me, and I'll just give you a brief rundown. I bought a 2016 CVO Street Glide from Harley Heaven, right? And from this, as soon as I put in, which being a CVO, you get the 110 engine, right? I upgraded it to a 117. As soon as I upgraded it, it turned into a nightmare. Wasn't done properly. The engine upgrade wasn't done properly. Then when they had my bike, because I took it back, it just wasn't done properly at all. They had it for 6 weeks. I get it back, it's running right. I go for a ride up to Darwin, come back, and a lifter goes. I thought a lifter had gone, right? What had actually happened is the oil pump hadn't been torque tightened while the crank was being turned. So they put it on, so that's your crank, the end of the crank, and they put the oil pump on like this, and it's ground the end of the crank. 8 months they had my bike, and they think that's okay, right? And then it still wasn't running right. After 8 months, my mufflers fell off my bike as I'm riding it. Luckily, they've got hooks, and they caught the hooks hooked up. The constant problems. Then when they said my bike was all done, after 8 months of having it, that night when I was riding my bike, I caught my air cleaner. I caught it in my hand. And I rang up Harley Heaven. And I said, I just caught my air cleaner. The next day, the right-hand muffler falls off. I ring up the manager there, right, in the city, and I go, what's going on? When I get there, on the way in there, right, the other muffler fell off. Mind you, I'm on the side of the road the first time. I'm trying to put it back on. I just, and it was in there, and then they've done all of this work, and they hadn't done it. They just hadn't done it. Colin replaced parts that were brand new that should have been put in there from the start. But what I'm getting at is the customer service. Right, Goodwill, you can't buy Goodwill, And Harley, if you're listening, for God's sake, you want people to buy your product. But how about this? They buy your product, but when things go wrong, don't rip them off, and do a shoddy job, right? We're on 2 wheels, not 4. If something goes wrong on a motorbike, you're in a bit of trouble because you don't have the balance there. You've only got 2 wheels. Mufflers falling off, air cleaners falling off, I had my handlebars collapse. Things like this, a worn crank, which is mechanical error, a human error, and all of this. I mean, at the end of the day, Colin repaired all of that. He didn't have to, but he did. He knew, I didn't go up there whinging. I'm not a whinger, but I'm not whinging now. What I'm saying is that's how good Colin is, and the family at Geelong Harley, right? So for all the people who will view this, if you know someone who can just wake Harley up, because Colin's he's a top bloke, and not just he fixes bikes, but he's got an rapport with people. We've all been down different roads, right? The lives that he saved, and Danny, and as I said in one of the quotes, I've said, thank you for repairing and maintaining our bikes, because these bikes, whether it's a Harley or a Jap bike, it makes no difference. At the end of the day, my skin is the same as someone on a jet bike. I used to race jet bikes and Ducatis. I still have them, right? You're no thicker. Your skin's no thicker, right? So you come off, you're going to lose bark, right? Okay, but the missus is home. Oh. The dog's going to bark. All right. Oh, now the phone rings. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so what I'm saying is it wasn't good seeing Colin like that, because I get in bad places. And to see Colin like that, who has a passion for not just bikes or selling bikes, but it's the people who go there. He listens to you. He cares. And to see him like that, it was heartbreaking. You know, I know everyone has their trials, and trials and tribulations. I don't go to Geelong Harley to, use it to lift myself up, right? Because that's just wrong, you know. I understand Colin's going to have his bad days, and that, just like we all do. But you have your bad days for a reason. Colin's bad day is because of Harley bullying him, and it's just wrong. Yeah, completely wrong. Agree with me or don't agree with me. I was standing there yesterday with the guy, talking to him, and he put his head down. He went. He said he was upset. I won't say what, because I don't want it to jeopardise Colin in any way or anything. I mean, that's the company and there's contracts signed and all of that. But I saw the video that this brought all this controversy on, and I'm telling you, it was nothing. It was nothing. I mean, there's other things in this world, right, that are worth worrying about than saying poof, right? Or, just something like that. Yeah, really, we can sit here and go on forever. I mean, I made a YouTube thing about people protesting. I've got no problem with people protesting, right? But I do have a problem when you go to, say, sacred ground. Like in Australia, we have the War Memorial, and I'm sure other countries have a similar thing. That's hallowed ground. You don't go to those places and protest. So they're problems. Someone saying poof in a video, and someone at home, taking offence to it and making this much drama for some bloke and his wife to, just be stressed. Come on, really? This is what people don't realise. You go to the tallest building in the world, yeah? And let me tell you want to know what's keeping that up? It's the grout. The stuff in between? It's like when you make a sandwich. You're not eating the sandwich for the 2 pieces of bread, are you? You're eating the sandwich for what you put in between. That's what binds it together. So if there's anybody out there, in this world, right, who, whether some rapper, Keanu Reeves, he's building bikes. It don't even have to be a bike enthusiast. Let's just tell Harley to back off. Because, there's nothing worse than seeing someone who goes there every day in the workshop. He's greased up. He's not on the sales floor. But when you go into Peter Stevens, and these other, major company-owned dealerships, the bloke in the office, the manager, he wouldn't even know how much air pressure's in the front tyre. He don't even know anything about a bike. It's all about the top dollar. How much money did we make today? I want top dollar. And Colin's not like that. I live in Reservoir. The distance for me to go from Reservoir to Geelong is about 100 k's, right? Now I can take my bike to Harley Heaven in the city, and we're only talking, say, 15 k's. But I'll tell you now, if Colin was in Darwin, and that's 3,753 kilometres away, I would ride my bike there. Because I know I would get a proper job. You know, I said to Colin, he asked me how my bike's running. I said, Colin, as soon as I kicked up the side stand, I didn't have to worry about the bike. And what I mean by that is it didn't squeak. The side stand came up nice and quietly. Say no more. I don't have to worry about my bike. You know? But I picked my bike up from Harley Heaven, right? And the air cleaner falls off. The muffler falls off. You know, just, you know, I don't understand where, you know, people's thoughts are in regards to, you know, crippling a person mentally and then their business. Really? Just because a person used an inappropriate, per se, you know, quote, you know, and the Colin gets, you know, this? No, not fair. Not fair at all. Not fair at all. You know, I mean, we can go into a lot of things in politics, and I'm not about the politics, you know. It's as simple as this to all you people out there. It's as simple as this. You know, there's black people, there's white people, there's, you know, brown people. You know, there's all sorts of people out there. You know, okay? Right? And it comes down to, you know, knowing right and wrong. Just simple as that. Common sense. Bit of discretion. Right and wrong. You know? You want to, you know, I'm upset, as you can probably see, after seeing Colin, how he was. Yeah. So, if anybody out there can approach the front doors of Harley, or whoever it is, this Willie G, or, you know, whoever it is, I don't know who the CEO of Harley is anymore. I mean, fuck me, you know. They want to bring out a fucking electric bike and everything else like that. When they get back to their fucking roots, hey? And I've gotten a lot of comments on my previous videos and stuff. And honestly, is anyone in Harley, have you fucking ridden a bike in the rain without a wetsuit on? Really, ridden it in the rain, where your balls are freezing or your tits are fucking frozen blue, if you're a female. You know, ride. You know, and not these Louis Vuitton riders, you know, okay? You know, I'm sick of these blokes that, you know, ride. You know, ride. Real riders. And that. People who ride their bikes, appreciate their bikes, and hunt out. How many people take these bikes back to these big corporations? They source out people like Colin, you know, and that they won't rip you off. They do a good job. You know, they stand by the Harley product. Colin, he'll stand by it. That's what he's based himself on. You know, you go into Peter Stevens, right, and the dealerships, the spare parts blokes, they're pulling out booklets of other manufacturers like S&S and Rolly Bars and all of this. You know, Colin won't. He's all about Harley. You pull the Harley book out first. And then you throw out other stuff. He's not throwing aftermarket at you. I've never had that much aftermarket goods thrown in my face in Harley Heaven. It was unbelievable. I'm standing in Harley Heaven. You know? So if there's anyone out there who can, you know, do something for Geelong Harley. I mean, one of my quotes was, you know, from one person, and that they said, you know, I'd buy a bike from Colin if I lived in Australia. You know, or, you know, the way Colin is, I want to just go and meet the bloke, and he doesn't even own a bike. That's me, dog. He's all right. He can bark. He's standing on the couch. Want to have a look? Have a look. Have a look. There he is. See him? Look at him. That's him on the bike. That's me, Mrs. Mary. And for all you people out there, right? Okay? That's not a sex swing, all right? That's for me grandson when he comes over and it's raining outside. All right? I'll put a swing inside, you know? But people are too serious these days. I don't know if you can see. People are too serious. Take the piss, mate. Have a joke. Really. You know? There's 23 different types of milk these days. You know? I only grew up on one. Right? it just, you know, just it wasn't it was good to see Colin, but it wasn't. I'll leave it at that. I'll follow it up. My daughter's just arrived. All right. Thank you all, and I'll make another video. But please, if anyone out there can help Colin and his wife and Geelong Harley, and really change the mindset of Harley Davidson and their CEO and all of that, and Willie G, you know what? Grow some balls, mate. You know, stop scratching your fucking head. Right? Pick up the phone and apologise to Colin. Okay? Because what you did was wrong. Okay? Absolutely wrong. My opinion. Okay? And a lot of other people, if you want to read my quotes, what comments that people said. Alright? Okay? Alright. Thank you very much. Take it easy. See ya.